The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome to Sister Speak. You're joined with me, Sonia.
Me, Fadeen.
Me, Sadiq.
And Mariam. Today we have a very special guest all the way from Muslim Census. And today we'll be talking about Muslim Census. So just a quick introduction of Sadiq. So Sadiq Dorasat is a co-founder of Muslim Census. It's an independent organisation that specialises in collecting representative data to highlight issues faced by the UK Muslim community. Having co-founded the organisation, Sadiq leads on strategy, research, marketing and the day-to-day running of it. Aside Muslim Census, he is the product manager for Wahid, which is a fintech company that allows Muslims to invest in a Sharia-compliant way. And before joining Wahid, he was the product manager for M&S and a data analyst for HSBC. And if that wasn't enough, Sadiq is also listed as Forbes Under 30. So a very warm welcome to Sadiq to Sister Speak. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for the great introduction. Assalamu alaikum everyone.
It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. So we are very excited to talk about Muslim Census, all about Sadiq Dorasat, and we will also be touching upon the cost of living crisis. But before we do that, Sonia, what is our show about?
Our show is a platform for Muslim girls to voice their own opinions on current events and issues and form discussions on general topics such as religion, culture, politics, identity and social media. Please note that all opinions and views are our own and we respect all other opposing or similar views and opinions.
So just to reiterate, we respect...
disclaimer in.
Yeah, have to caveat it. So just to know that we do respect all other opposing views. If you want to join in our discussion, Farin, how can they join in?
You can call us on 01582481822 or you can WhatsApp us on 07779481822 or you can also watch us on Facebook Live at Inspire FM.
So we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can also message us on Instagram at Sister Speak. So just diving straight into the show, we have this segment called Thought of the Week, and it's just a segment where we talk about something insightful, something we're thinking about, or maybe just perhaps a reflection. So I'm going to start off with Sonia to share her Thought of the Week, and she's nodding her head, so I'm definitely going to choose her first.
Oh no, I want to continue on from my last week's Thought of the Week.
Go ahead.
Because I feel like I've become an adult now, and obviously last week I was talking about how when you want to react, you just want to react straight away. But part of being an adult is like taking time, just thinking about it, thinking, let me react when I'm not angry or when I'm not feeling all these emotions and this rage or whatever it is, this excitement. And it sounds a bit boring, but I feel like it's helped me in the past 2 to 3 weeks because things get heightened, emotions, etc., whatever it is. And sometimes you just need to take a moment. And that for me is like the difference, one of the differences of being younger and being an adult. So yeah, just want to continue on from that last week's one.
A very good Thought of the Week. I think that's something that we all can resonate with in terms of governing our emotions. So Sadiq, what is your Thought of the Week?
Okay, so I had the pleasure of meeting Khabib yesterday, Nurmagomedov, the famous fighter, and I asked him a question with regards to when did you know enough was enough? You guys hear water?
I could hear that trickling as well. Yeah, we'll get that checked out.
No worries.
Carry on. This is so interesting.
We're not about to be flooded, right? So yeah, when did you feel like enough was enough, or how did you make that kind of decision where alhamdulillah you've had enough in life? Because he stepped down and retired from UFC when he was at the peak, and he said that he had other fights on the cards that were ready to pay 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. And, someone that had it all, he spoke about rizq. And he said, well, it was easy to let it go because that's what Allah intended for me. And any additional money that I could have made wasn't meant for me. And that's how he kind of navigates life, where there's no greed in him, and I feel like I tried to think about my own life and being involved, especially in London. I don't know if Luton is a little bit different, but in London you're in a rat race, and you're chasing the best opportunities, you're chasing the best salary, the job, whatever, and you almost, there's to no end. And someone who's got it all has that, that full belief and trust in Allah, then anyone can, right? So that's my thought of the week.
Amazing. I think, again, that's something that we've kind of spoke about as well in our show, because, again, it is about this rat race, and sometimes we're so fixated in terms of getting certain results because society tells us these are the accolades that we should achieve, especially in terms of age. We think there's a certain trajectory we have to achieve. But alhamdulillah, we're Muslim, and we know that risk is already written. It's defined. It's already there. We just have to do our best and ensure that we're try to create some sort of positive impact, because I do believe quite firmly that as Muslims we all have a certain strength, and Allah has given us a certain quality, and we should use that quality for the betterment of other people. But often when we're in this rat race, it's very individualistic, and so we don't think about the wider impact, and we don't think about how we should please Allah. So thank you for sharing that. That was really insightful. Farin, what is your thought of the week?
My thought of the week, I've been thinking about this all week. That's why it's my thought of the week. Just about enjoying your own company. I feel like sometimes we tend to think that when people are alone, we kind of pity them. We're like, oh, they're alone, they're this. But I think enjoying your own company, being alone with your thoughts, is really important. And I've been trying to implement it now. I've been getting tired of. I'm trying to get antisocial, kind of. I've been trying to get out of the social interactions out of a lot of people and try to be with my thoughts, my stuff, be busy with what I have to do. So that's my kind of thought of the week. It's not, you don't have to be with someone to enjoy life. You can, but you need to have those moments where you're by yourself with your own thoughts.
So that's a brilliant thought of the week. I think often we kind of can't differentiate what's solitude and being alone, and I think because of that we become really uncomfortable with our own thoughts. Does anyone have their own thoughts on that?
I think there's a balance. As much as I do like spending time with myself, I much prefer being with other people. So like your family, friends. And I think you grow by speaking to other people about things that are passionate about, to you. For example, I've got a very, very close group of friends. And if I hadn't spoken to them about certain things, whether that's from a deen perspective or a dunya perspective, they're there to guide as well. And you're a total of the group of friends that you spend the most time with, and that's for a reason. They can either pull you in a good direction or a bad direction.
Absolutely. Sonny, did you say have something to add?
I was just thinking, I spoke about that a few weeks ago too, because I'm so passionate about that. I feel like you are the product of the company you keep. No matter what you say, you can say that you're the most strong-willed person, I'm not easily influenced, that's fine, but you're still going to be a product of your environment. So you just have to pick really wisely, I guess, with who you hang out with.
And that comes from the prophetic tradition as well. In hadith, that Allah, and the Prophet says sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the people that we the people that we spend the most time with, they're the people that influence us, and we should take care of how we make this decision, make conscious decisions of who we pick. And I think what Sadiq was saying was something that I resonate, because I think my groups of friends have evolved as I've evolved. And I think one thing that, especially during university, you meet so many people from different spectrums. And I think one thing that persistently kept coming was that I wanted to hold on to my principles and values. And however that manifested was through my friendships and in the activities that we do. And still today, I feel like my group of friends that I have now are reflective of this. And I feel like just because of that, alhamdulillah, I have achieved so much, just because the company I have is always turning back to Allah. And even though everyone is, I guess, part of this rat race, they know that when they reflect, it's about pleasing Allah at the end of the day, and it's about positive impact. So I definitely resonate with that. So thank you for sharing that. This is a good segue for my next question, and actually targeted at Sadiq. What experience has made Sadiq Dorasat today?
So Miriam, you're gonna have to start saying Sadiq, man.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
All right, what experiences have made me who I am today? Good question. I would say just growing up with my family, my friends in my area. So I come from a very loud family. Does that make sense? So as in, like, everyone's quite outspoken.
Yes.
Everyone's quite confident. Everyone has a good time. And if you kind of want your opinions heard, you've got to come with the same level of energy.
Yeah.
And also, they're like, my parents and my sister are very much strong people persons, because it's plural.
It makes sense. People persons.
We're making up words. And I've learned to be that way as well. I definitely get a lot of energy from just being around others and talking, just like this, actually. Yeah.
So that has informed you of your passions and your motivation.
Alhamdulillah, yeah. Like, I knew from day one, I didn't want a job that just had me sat behind a desk and never speaking to any people. I knew I wanted a front-facing, like, speaking to people, speaking to customers, speaking about things that I'm passionate about, and hearing what other people have to think as well. It's what makes me tick, and I figured that out through, like, my childhood.
Amazing. Sonia, same question for you.
What experiences have made me who I am today?
Yes. I like to do introspection. You both know that. So,
well, I'd firstly say living in Luton is such a strong thing. It's huge, and we who live in Luton, and now you live in Luton too. I'm sure you can vouch for that.
You chose to live in Luton.
I know.
Luton has a bad rep, you know.
We do. I know. We're here to make it better. Us three right here. So you know how it shapes you, right? Wherever you live, it shapes you. And I think living here, you want to defeat all the odds. You want to break all the barriers. You want to, because you see so much diversity, but in good and a bad way. So I think that would be the first thing. Secondly, obviously family, and then I would also say school and college shaped me from when I was younger. But then as I got older, I'd say university and work. It sounds such a basic cliche answer. I've literally just told you my life statement, but it shapes you. It does. And I feel like some of the stuff you even said, I kind of resonate with now, because I feel like I have had a desk job, as you would say, and I enjoyed that, and I think it was really great. But I think as we grow older, it's good to try just different things. So yeah, I definitely feel like in terms of shaping me, I'd have to pick, if it was one thing, I'd say where I live and where I come from.
Nice.
Amazing. Farron?
I'm not actually sure. I think I agree with Asanya a little bit. You know, my family, especially my sister, which is like my best friend forever. But anything that shaped, I'm gonna cringe so bad. But anything that shaped me, I don't know. I just feel like I'm in a stage where I don't really think about this stuff, and all the experiences that I've. I don't think I can answer this question now.
How old are you, Farron?
18.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm just doing my A levels now.
Am I the oldest here?
You are.
All right, I'm here to give
just
wisdom.
But you're under 30, because you're on Forbes 30 under 30.
That is correct. That is correct.
Not that old, then.
Go ahead, Farron.
Yeah, and if growing up in Spain, I think that also obviously had an impact on. I think I live of like learning more beliefs, and you know, I don't know. I don't have anything else to say, honestly. I have like 3 years to go still.
3 years to go. Yes, I think my answer is definitely family. I like Sadiq.
Nice.
Make me more conscious about that. I think my family have been the people that have really informed the person I am today, and especially I come from an extremely big family. So my dad's siblings, my mom's siblings, when we just come together, just their siblings, there's always like 60 of us. So for me, it's just I'm very accustomed to be in big gatherings. I like to be a people's person as well. And I think I resonate with Sadiq as well, because I feel like I have to have jobs where I'm speaking to people. Otherwise, I feel like I don't have any growth, and that's just personally for me. That's just kind of my nature, because I do feel like I'm a person that absorbs a lot. I like to hear what other people say, what's the observations, what's the experiences, and I like to tease out or extrapolate kind of things that they've learned from the experiences, so like secondhand experience. So that's something that I feel like has informed me today, and I think also the aspect of religion, I think that has really informed my character in terms of trying to learn about deen. Meeting people who are actively trying to do things for the community. I think that's something that has really shaped the person I am today. And I do feel like even being with Inspire FM for so many years now, I do feel that's an act of worship because it is for the community. It's voluntary. It's Sadaqah Jariyah. I pray it is. And also like my external engagement with Femiso and all these other things that I'm involved with. So I feel like from a very young age, I really enjoyed being part of community. And even Sonia and I, we used to go to youth club together very long time ago. And I feel like that kind of accelerated my development and social skills. So that is kind of my experiences. But I'm now going to move on to the next question, which is, what has made you the happiest last year? Go on, Sadiq.
Whoa, the happiest last year. The happiest. I don't want to say something shallow.
That's okay. That's convenient.
Like
just unpack it.
Top three. Okay. So do you know what? Honestly, getting on the Forbes list last year, it made me happy for like a morning, and then it was kind of like just.
Did you pay for it?
No, I didn't pay for it.
I'm joking.
I think the things that made me really happy last year is growing with my family. So alhamdulillah, we moved out of our council flat to our own home,
alhamdulillah,
and that was like a huge step for all of us. And of course it came with so much stress and pressure, but now that we're actually living there, like alhamdulillah, it's beautiful. That's honestly like one of the biggest things of last year. But I would say as well, growing Muslim Census and then now actually having my day job around trying to serve Muslims in this country as well, is very aligned to my passions and what I want to do in life. So I feel like I'm at a really like good stage, and doing what I love. So, and that probably wasn't what it was at the start of last year. So
yeah. That's true. Well, firstly, huge congratulations in moving from your council flat to a home. That's a huge achievement, a huge milestone, and I pray Allah puts barakah in your new home and in your new life, in your new home. But Sonia, what is your happiest moment? No?
I really have to think about that, because there's so many. There's actually so many happy moments. And not to copy you, but we also moved houses yesterday.
Oh, no way. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much. And it was, you know what? It's like I don't know if it's an Asian thing or whatever, but it's such a big thing when you get that house where you're like, we finally got the house that we want, the family home where our parents are going to grow old.
Yes, exactly that.
So I feel like that was definitely one of the biggest achievements for me and my whole family last year.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much. But in general, I would say this feels shallow to me, but I would say work-related achievements. Just being
able to. At all.
Thank you. I think I've progressed so fast in such a short time, and I think that does make me a little bit happy. I hate to say it, but
you should be happy.
Thanks. And this sounds so lame as well, but turning 25, because I was so scared for so long. Especially after COVID took so many years, I felt like, oh my God. But now I'm like 25, I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with it. Like, I'm happy. I feel like I know what I'm doing. I'm not scared. So don't worry about growing old. It's coming soon. But yeah, I think there's many more moments. I find happiness in everything all the time. That's like my main thing. So
I can confirm that. She really does.
Thank you. So
Karen?
I think, honestly, this year, I think that me and my family, we really feel like proper Lutonians,
Nice.
Because
is that a good thing? I don't know.
No, I think it's a good thing.
It's a happy moment.
Putting your mic there like that.
I think when we came, we were kind of all over the place, looking for our place. We moved like 3 times as well. We're still, looking for our own home, inshallah, one day.
Inshallah.
So yeah, I think what made me the happiest, we don't have the home that we want now. We're still, we made so many friends. We're in the community, which is something that we didn't have back in Spain. So that's made me really happy. And obviously, volunteering, joining, obviously, Sister Speak also made me really happy.
We didn't pay her to say that. Just to let you know.
Just honestly, taking part in a lot of things here in Luton, volunteering, and just being involved, honestly, has made me really happy this year.
Amazing. Seems like, mashallah, you guys have had great highlights this year. Moving on from that.
And what about you?
Yeah.
What about me?
Yeah. Isn't that how the show works?
No, I get to pick and choose, actually.
Okay.
But since you asked now, I think for me, I think last year, alhamdulillah, it was a great year for growth. I think I really challenged myself in terms of putting myself in uncomfortable situations, so traveling with FEMISO, becoming the training operations officer for FEMISO, doing patchwork, so even hosting a masterclass in News HQ, which was a huge thing for me, especially because I was with John Pina, and that day it was really hectic because that day our current Prime Minister, who was the Prem Sec, resigned that day, so it was extremely hectic because News HQ homes the Times, Daily Mail, Sunday Time, the Mail on Sunday. So I think those kind of experiences really contributed to my confidence, actually, because I really suffered low self-esteem after university, and I think last year I really plunged into different experiences, and that really accelerated my growth. So I think what made me really happy is that I wasn't really fixated on terms of a goal. I just was really present in terms of the journey, and that really helped me to grow the way I have, alhamdulillah. Moving on to my next question, which is, I feel like you guys will need a moment to think about it. And I'm going to go straight to Sadiq, which is, what areas in your life are you becoming comfortable or complacent in which you no longer want to become comfortable or complacent in?
What areas? Okay, good question. See, this is the thing. I'm becoming comfortable, but I'm not happy with it. Like I'm happy.
Interesting.
Before, like I said, I'd say a year ago, 2 years ago, I felt like I was chasing something that I could never actually have. So it would just be, like the carrot on a stick that would just keep moving further and further. And I don't know if it's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, or it's just a scholar that mentioned it, but the son of Adam will only be full when his mouth is full of dirt.
Oh wow!
As in,
that's very
he's dead,
he's in the ground.
He's in the ground. So you keep chasing, it will just be endless. So sometimes you actually do have to sit and say, okay, what am I going to be comfortable with in life? And then, okay, once I've reached this, I can continue going, but with the brakes on slightly, so that I can focus on, because I'm not here forever. Like I do have to meet my maker at one point for sure. So I feel comfort in feeling that. And I've stepped off the gas a little bit with life, but I'm happy for that, if that makes sense.
Makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it that way, in terms of just being content. Is really important.
Yeah, I think deciding what you're content with is so important. It's so important. I think people live their life not knowing where their contentment is coming from. Or searching for contentment without necessarily, not knowing where it's going to come from. And then it's just endless, and it can spiral. And
I think that's a symptom of being in an individualistic society, because you're constantly thinking you don't have enough, or you need to move on to the next milestone. So
you're looking at social media, you're seeing all these other people doing everything they want to do. You're like, I want that.
Especially because we're given this certain trajectory that we have to, by this age we should be here, by this age, and especially with social media, because it's so visible, we're connected to everyone, we can see people posting what they've achieved, and we feel almost inferior that why haven't we achieved it? We're the same age, but we actually don't account for our circumstances. So I definitely think that's something we should really think about. Sonia, do you want to?
Well, I feel like what you just said, both of you, is so insightful. It's completely thrown me off now, but it was a good thing. But in terms of like complacency, I would say education. Nice. So obviously, like, life's been happening, as you've been saying, like everyone's just on this grind doing things, and I'm like, hold on, like sometimes I realize, I'm kind of smart, and I need to re-engage my brain, and this is part of, I've spoken about maybe going back into education, because it's always good to just be learning things, right? But when you're older, no one's forcing you to do it anymore. You have to force yourself, or discipline, or you want to do it, right? And I'm definitely coming towards something where I'm like, I think I definitely want to go back into education. Don't know what field it may be yet, but I need to just engage my brain because I don't want it to go just numb.
Plateau.
Yeah. So that's where I've become complacent.
I think I resonate with that. Before I used to read 4 books a week, and I think
that's amazing.
And now I barely read 2 books in like a whole year. So
okay, that's bad.
You can see that I'm being honest. I'm holding myself accountable, and I think I'm that type of person. I really love learning. So I realized that when I don't do short courses with Faith Institute, and then I'm not being endorsed with my teacher Shabir Hassan, you may know of him.
Of course.
Yeah. So
Ustad.
Yeah, Ustad. Exactly. He's my Ustad as well. I feel like I just become in a rut, and I think it's because I'm so accustomed to learning, especially with the degree that I did. It was just consuming so much knowledge, and I feel that I wanted to use my degree as a way it's transferable skills, because I did English literature, which explains why I did 4 books a week. I feel that those are the skills that I could use to understand our religion, because obviously our religion is from the Quran. There's so many stories, it's contextual, we understand why certain things happen and how we can implement that in our daily lives.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Atif Nawaz. Listen to Inspire FM shows in your time by heading over to inspirefm.org or listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to Sisters Speak. You're here with me, Mariam, and also joining the show is Sonia, Fareen and Sadiq from Muslim Census. So in the first half of the show we were just talking about our reflections, having a bit of introspection in terms of our thoughts, and in this half we'll be talking about Muslim Census and the way Muslim Census was founded, and also talking about the cost of living crisis report. So I'm just going to dive straight into it. Sadiq, can you tell us what is Muslim Census?
Yeah. So Muslim Census is a community and market research organization specifically focused on the 4 million Muslims living in the UK. So what we do is we try and tackle issues where there is no underlying data specifically for Muslims. So be that matters of finance, matters of actual faith, matters of employment. Currently, there is no faith-based data. So we never know what the impact is of anything, any policy change, any impact in the world upon Muslims. So we're trying to rectify that gap. And even charities, Muslim charities, or people that actually want to support Muslims, they never know how best to, because there's no data. So there's no organization that goes around and surveys, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000. We've even had surveys of 40,000, telling people exactly, okay, this is what Muslims are struggling with, this is how often or severe they're struggling with it, and this is how they want it to be solved. So that's what Muslim Census does. We launched 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
What? Are you serious?
What?
2 years ago? I thought this was going on forever.
No, it's very...
Do I look that old?
No,
oh my gosh, we need to have a conversation,
I've heard
Sonia.
of Muslim Census. Of course I've heard of it, and I've seen it, statistics and so on.
Amazing.
And you just don't even think, I thought this is always going on. Like, it just seems like something that's always been there.
So we started a few months into the pandemic. So
was it 2019?
2020.
20, wow.
Yeah, so we went into the pandemic March 2020,
sure.
And we launched July 2020. So
that's
March,
really
April,
good.
July. Yeah.
I literally thought, hate to say this, but I thought it was government related or council related. I'm so sorry. I don't.
Do you know what? That just means we're doing a very good job.
That's how ingrained it was.
Because you see us as seriously professional.
Yeah, Muslim Census are sounding it as well. Like,
which, alhamdulillah, is exactly what we are. Not government funded, as in professional.
Yeah, good.
Just talk me through the process then, informing Muslim Census, because it did launch in the midst of a pandemic.
Correct.
So what was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, so I took a real interest into the data around COVID.
Sure.
And of course, I was looking at certain things like death rate, comparing the UK to Spain, Italy, China, of course. And then the government came out with a report that said ethnic minorities were 2 or 3 times likelier to die of COVID.
Yeah, I remember.
And then there was a employment report that said that ethnic minorities were disproportionately impacted with regards to job loss during the pandemic as well. But nothing faith related. And we know that Muslims, half of Muslims, 50% of Muslims live in the top 10% of the most impoverished areas in the UK. So when we're saying things like, oh, ethnic minorities are disproportionately impacted, my mind says, wait, even further disproportionately impacted must be Muslims. But no one's paying attention to it because there's no numbers, there's no data, and everyone's kind of like just ignoring us. We are only, 5%, we're now 6.5% of the population. So if we don't have our own source of the truth, who's going to look into it? And it was a time of the Black Lives Matter movement as well. And again, the conversation for Muslims felt separated. When actually in the UK, 10% of Muslims are black or black African or black Caribbean. And the conversation was, oh no, this isn't our issue. This is, this is UK-wide, these guys' issue. People were moving like it was separate. No, absolutely not. It's our issue as well. We should be caring about the Black Lives Matter movement. We should be caring about what's happening in the US and what's happening at our own home as well. So I passionately expressed exactly how I've been doing to you guys to one of my closest friends, Mohammed. He's the co-founder of Muslim Census, and we've known each other ever since year 7. So we went to the same secondary school.
So nice.
Been best friends since then.
Shout out to Mohammed.
Come on. We actually met in year 6. My primary school had a football match against his primary school.
Wow.
And I scored the winner, is what I tell everyone, because that's what I remember. But my memory is a bit foggy. But anyway,
we have to ask Mohammed.
Yeah, you have to ask Mohammed because he has a completely different story. Like they won, and I'm like, wait, what? That wasn't the match that I played in. And it was at the time where no one was allowed out apart from for like your 30-minute walk or whatever it is. So we used to go to the park and just play football. Not like properly, but we'd just do kick-ups and pass.
From a distance.
Exactly, from a legal distance.
Legal distance.
If anyone's listening.
They are.
And he completely bought into what I was speaking about and said, wait, let's actually do this. And we didn't think it was going to be anything big. So I built in public. So I used like social media to really like speak about what we were trying to build, sharing logos, shared the first survey. We had 250 responses. Wow. And then I just closed it. And bear in mind, it was just me and Mo. And he took on building out the website. And I took on essentially doing marketing, comms, and then all the analysis and write-up of a report. And then we did some design work. And we launched our first study, which was for the first time looking at anti-blackness within the Muslim community. And that somehow went and was quoted in The Guardian and fueled a lot of work in terms of actually like our recommendations were of, making sure we had scholars come in and speak about certain issues all year wide rather than Black History Month, for example. And then there were a few others and they were all taking a ball. We went around universities, like showcasing our data. We went around professional groups and professional networks in the corporate industry and in employment sector. So it was really, really cool. And then from then on, we kind of like kicked on. We had 2 people reach out to us and say they wanted to volunteer. Like we didn't even ask for volunteers. We just thought this was going to be like, like a side passion project that we would do. All of a sudden we had a team now of 2.
Wow.
And then we launched our second report, which was the financial impact of COVID. And then from there, we really kind of like went on.
Sounds really inspiring, especially in terms of the team was so small. How did you pick the questions in terms of your surveys? Because especially if it's pertaining anti-blackness in the Muslim community.
Of course, yeah.
There's a lot of sensitivity around that.
Yeah.
So how did you inform those questions?
Yeah. So I did a maths degree growing up, and then at uni, of course. And then I did a few stats modules.
Sure.
So I knew from a data background of what questions are good questions to actually conduct analysis. But then in terms of like that subject matter expert knowledge,
sure.
We went and spoke to dozens of people. I'll give a shout out to Ayo, who
amazing guy.
Yeah.
Tabarakallah.
So we spoke to him. We spoke to Black Muslim Forum. I don't know if you've heard of them. Sukaina, Sister Sukaina. And again, these are like organizations that have been like, and people that have been talking about this and being very passionate and vocal about this. So we wanted to include them in our work. We actually spoke to Nama B. Robert as well. And that's where we formed our study. So it wasn't just two random guys from Hackney that had no knowledge of what we were doing. We tried to include as many people as possible.
Is that the kind of process you do for all the studies, or what does it look like?
I mean, now we're like quite established, right?
Sure.
Well, you know, I'll take that back. Now we're growing.
You are established.
So we have people that have actually qualified and are MRS certified. MRS being Market Research Societies certified.
Sure. And all of this is voluntary.
Yeah, I mean, so Muslim Census, we
have a business model.
Funded their certification, and these are like volunteers who've been volunteering with us for close to 2 years, 18 months at the very least. And so they have the expert now research knowledge, and then we combine that with, rather than individuals, actual organizations. So for example, the cost of living study, we spoke with Joseph Rowntree Foundation, we spoke with National Zakat Foundation, and through there, that, you know, is quite comprehensive. And even with some of our work, we speak with the ONS, and many other organizations. So we our academic rigor is a lot better than what it was at the very beginning.
That's amazing. And if I'm correct, you had the opportunity for students to do placements. How did that look like?
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. That was last year.
Can you talk us through that?
So we did work experience. We had work experience kids.
Oh, that's nice. Were they in
Census.
high school or like A-levels? What age were they?
What's the difference? What's high school?
Like 15, 16?
Secondary school.
Oh, okay, secondary school. Yeah. No, they were college kids.
Okay, yeah, 16,
so they were
17,
16, 17, 18, yeah.
Parents' age, yeah.
Yeah. And so we ran a whole 2-week work experience with them, and they actually published a report.
Wow,
it's on our website.
Incredible.
So I wanted to make sure that they left with something that they could point to and say they done.
That's really good.
No, that's fine.
Okay, I can keep going. And you know, only one of them was Muslim.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
So we had non-Muslims, and they wanted to spend work experience with us.
Wow, it was their choice.
So one of the one Muslim person that volunteered or did the work experience, she reached out to her person at the college and said, I want to do work experience with Muslim Census.
Okay.
And so she reached out to us, and we said, no way, we've never done this before, but I'm happy to do it. Like, why not?
Really good, yeah.
So we had the 4 of them. It was so funny. Like, they kept calling me sir. They laughed at me because I used Twitter, and apparently that's not what cool kids do. Yeah.
We can confirm.
Apparently the cool kids use Snapchat. I thought Snapchat died.
For us, maybe.
Yeah, Snapchat died for us.
It's really funny because I was literally saying to Farron yesterday, I don't use any social media, I just use Twitter.
Yeah.
Thanks for confirming that. Anyways, go ahead.
Snapchat and TikTok, of course.
Of course, no doubt they use that.
Yeah.
No, so just reining it back into the question.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're crazy tangent, and go on.
No, so these 2 students, they put forward that they wanted to do placement. So was Muslim Census a registered charity at that point? And
we're not registered. We're not a registered charity. We're a limited company.
Oh, limited company,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So at that time, was it registered? And also, did you have a space in which you could accommodate those students?
Yeah. So we had 4 students in total do work experience with us, and we actually did it at an off-site place next to the college. So we rented out a place, and we did the 2 weeks with them.
What was their feedback?
Oh, they loved it, honestly. Like, they genuinely loved
really
it.
good.
They still are. I'm still in contact with their advisor that works at the school.
Maybe it
with
could be
them.
an ongoing thing that you get work
The
experience.
only
every
thing is, though, it was quite demanding for myself.
Sure.
You should do 1 week and 1 student or something like that.
Yeah.
But you have to recognize that he does have a full-time job, and he does
like, so the thing is, I was balancing a full-time job whilst running
Maybe you
work
can
experience for
delegate
kids.
it to someone else.
Yeah, like, it's definitely something that I'd love to keep doing, because I would have loved a work experience like that
There you go,
if I was at that age.
I'm all for it because I'm very passionate about social mobility. So
Nice.
I think that's amazing that you facilitated that for those students.
Yeah.
And going back to the main kind of topic, just kind of moving on, what challenges have you faced through Muslim Census, and what has it taught you?
Yeah. I think probably the biggest challenge of Muslim Census is gaining the trust of the community, because as Sonia gave a clear example, a lot of people just assume we're like involved with government and what have you, and our job is to kind of dispel that and make it very, very clear that we're an independent organization. We are self-funded, you know. There's a revenue model behind us, but we serve the community. Like, we're completely community orientated, and we want to have impact. We're very mission driven. So yeah, making it clear to people, no, this is what we do. We're not here to do anything or sell your data anywhere, or be involved with organizations that we feel don't align with the best interests of Muslims. So that was a challenge. But the way to kind of like overcome that is, what I've realized is just be very like present. Have a presence, be present, and speak about what you're doing as much as possible. Be transparent. And that's why, you know, Jazakallah khair for you guys to invite me on this show.
Our pleasure.
Is like stuff like this I value so much, because I get to speak about what I do, and make it seem, which it is, like very like approachable, and hopefully people get behind it and support it.
Yeah, I think it's something that's really important, especially with a scandal that happened with a certain app, a prayer app.
Yeah.
People do have this lack of trust towards organizations that seem to be for the Muslim community, but then almost go against that. So to be visible, I think that has really helped in terms of the transparency.
that app, I couldn't tell you, I couldn't picture you one person that works there, you know. So if you see people that work there, if something goes wrong, at least like my next on the line, right? Like, you know that Sadiq works here and his face has been everywhere, and my team, you know, the likes of Mohammed, likes of Usman, likes of Naira, Zahra, like these people will be with me as well, right? So
you one go down, it will go down.
Exactly.
No, I really appreciate that, because I feel like for Muslims to be able to engage with an organisation that claim to be for the Muslim community, it's really important to have that transparency and to have that accountability. And I feel the same model is used for Pillars, and that's why you can see its success. So I think it's something that
you had Abdurrahman on, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
I've got a question from
That's
someone.
my boy. Oh, yeah.
I think you did touch on it. It was, how did you monetize your Muslim Census?
Oh, people want to know about the business.
Yeah, that's important.
People want to know about the business.
How did you monetize it early on?
Yeah. So we launched in July, right? In November, we made money off Muslim Census. We made our first £1,000, and I felt, wow, no way. What have I built? So what we do is like commission studies.
Yes.
So for example, that study there, NZF reached out to us and commissioned us and wanted to find out.
Just to interrupt you, just to explain what's NZF.
Oh, National Zakat Foundation.
I know, but people might not know.
I apologize. See, I'm not used to this radio stuff, man.
Yeah, completely fine. You're doing amazing.
So What was I saying?
How you made money.
Yes.
So yes, what's
Yeah,
the business model? So in terms of commissioning.
So National Zakat Foundation commissioned us. So what that means is they reached out to us and wanted to find out a certain donation habits of a certain subgroup of Muslims. So they reached out to us. We say, cool. We reach out to the people. We get them to complete a survey. We analyze it and we share with whoever commissioned us. So we've been commissioned by the NHS, Genomics England. We've been commissioned by startups like Algebra, which is a fintech startup. Of course, we've been commissioned twice now by National Zakat Foundation, and a few other startups as well that we've loved, like the experience of working with them. And yeah, we're here to plug the gap, right? Like if your business or your charity or your what have you is here to serve Muslims, we're a great tool for you guys to use to understand how to do exactly that. And yeah, hopefully we like want to build it out a bit more, in terms of like reaching out to more organizations and saying, look, do you know how you serve your Muslim users or what have you? And get them to use us.
Perfect. I have a question as well, just following on from that. How do you conduct this research and how do you measure its success? Because if you are being commissioned, surely there's a criteria that you have to fulfill. So how does that look?
Yeah. So how we're commissioned is essentially to ensure that we provide a sample that is what they're looking for. Normally it's just representative of the UK. So we make sure that, we've got a good gender split, we've got a good age split, region, ethnicity, of course. And then off the back of that and this is where we have absolutely no qualms, issues, whatever, because our team are so talented. We've got just under 30 people now volunteering with us.
From 2 to 30, that's amazing.
From 2 to 30, yeah. And we had our offsite in December, which was like really cool. The report writing, like the analysis and report writing is like top notch. So, and then we publish, and we get a lot of attention from our reports. We've been featured in, as I mentioned, The Guardian, The Independent, Financial Times, BBC, ITV. I've been all over the place, man. So like, data is so important.
Sure.
So, and obviously, the more Muslim Census grows, I think it will be as a positive light for Muslims in the UK. Inshallah. That's amazing. I'm very biased, of course.
Just following on from that, one of the studies that you did do was the cost of living crisis, which is really relevant for the Muslim community. And Muslim Census surveyed 1,568 people, age ranging from 18 to 65. I want to just come to ask you, can you talk us through what your findings were?
Yeah. So again, like, we really wanted to do this study because the country, we're talking about the cost of living crisis. Sure. And again, this is why we exist, because Muslim charities and charities in general are going to have to provide for Muslims, but we need to really understand what the cost of living crisis means for Muslims in this country. So again, we spoke with NZF, the National Zakat Foundation, beforehand. We spoke with a few food banks.
Sure.
And they mentioned that we're seeing a surge in Muslims.
Sure.
We're seeing a surge in people asking if the food that we provide is halal, which is something that I never considered. Like, whoa, hang on. Like, yes, they're going to food banks, but the food has to still be halal.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So we took inspiration from these organizations and individuals, and went and conducted this study. And Algebra, of course, supported this study as well. And what we found, we found quite a number of shocking statistics, actually. And it's quite uneasy to think about Muslims struggling like this in this country. But more than half of all British Muslims have experienced difficulty in paying at least one bill in the last year. 65%, this is quite big, right? 65% of Muslims have had to take out some form of debt to manage everyday costs and bills. And when you think Muslims have that added restriction of riba, and the fact that some of these people have had to then go ahead and take out a personal loan, or are deep into their overdraft, it's a huge concern. It's a huge concern, and I think as a community, we have a real responsibility to help these people, because I think on the Day of Judgment, we will be held accountable rather than them. I'm sorry for going crazy deep on you guys.
It's extremely important. We are coming to the end of the show. We only have 2 more minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And I think what you have just mentioned, it's something that we all need to.
Can I mention one thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, I've mentioned some hard statistics, but we've had one person, many people come out and say, because of this report, I'm giving my zakat in the UK. And that's exactly the reason why we're doing these types of work.
Yeah.
The work National Zakat Foundation are doing on the ground, the work behind the scenes Algebra are doing, I just wanted to mention that.
No, that's...
Go on, cut me off.
No. He's just thinking
it's a good ending, I think. That's
I think what kind of the summary of it is that Muslim Census is really trying to tackle the inequalities that we have in our Muslim community, but also highlighting it and using data in a way to inform policy, because that's how you can enact change. And in terms of recommendations and actions, that's followed by through the data. So I think it's something really, really significant. And I really pray that Allah puts barakah into it, just because it's such a great initiative, and I think all of us should be backing this, because it's something that we require. 10 seconds you got.
To get involved, follow Muslim Census on all socials, just Muslim Census, or go to our website, muslimcensus.co.uk.
And they have an Instagram page and a Facebook page.
All socials.
They're coming to the end of the show. Thank you so much, Sadiq, for coming on the show. We look forward to having you again. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for having me. Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Why not tune in to our live stream at inspirefm.org and follow and subscribe to our social media platforms at Inspire FM Luton.